She was supposed to be just another victim. But as Gary Ridgway tightened his hands around her throat, something unexpected happened. She fought back, gasping, clawing, dragging both herself and her killer toward the front door of his house. In that terrifying moment, Gary realized his secret life as one of America's deadliest serial killers was hanging by a thread. In this story, we uncover how a near miss inside Gary Ridgway's home almost exposed one of the most prolific serial murderers in U.S. history. A man responsible for killing at least 49 women, many of them sex workers, along the quiet roads near the Green River in Washington state. It was the early 1980s in King County, Washington, a place that looked peaceful on the surface. But beneath that calm exterior, fear was spreading. Women, especially young prostitutes from the Seattle-Tacoma area, were vanishing without a trace. Gary Leon Ridgway lived a life of routine. To his neighbors, he was quiet, polite, even helpful, a man who washed his car obsessively and read the Bible. He worked as a truck painter at a local plant, clocking in and out every day like any other man. But behind closed doors, Ridgway was leading a double life. A predator who cruised the strip where prostitutes worked, offering them rides and a sense of safety. Once he had them alone, his calm voice and gentle smile turned to something else. Cold, calculating, and deadly. He'd later claim he killed women because he hated prostitutes. Yet at the same time, he couldn't stop himself from hiring them. It was a twisted cycle of lust, hatred, and guilt that consumed him. For a while, Gary thought he was untouchable. He had a pattern: pick up a woman, drive her to a remote area, strangle her, and dump the body near the Green River. Then he'd go home to his wife and act like nothing happened. But as time went on, he began taking risks. He started bringing women back to his own home. The same house where his wife sometimes slept just a few rooms away. That's when everything nearly fell apart. One night, he brought home another woman, a prostitute he planned to kill like all the others. But something was different. She was strong. When Gary attacked her, she fought back fiercely, scratching, kicking, and trying to scream. In the struggle, she managed to crawl out of the bedroom, still gasping for air, still fighting for her life. Gary's hands were locked around her neck, but she wouldn't die. Her body kept moving, inch by inch, toward the front door. Gary panicked. He'd never lost control like this before. The woman, bruised, bleeding, desperate, dragged herself across the floor with the full weight of her killer on her back. If someone had walked by or knocked on the door at that moment, it would have been over for him. Gary Ridgway, the so-called Green River Killer, would have been caught right there. But no one came, and eventually, her strength faded. The struggle ended, and with that, Gary took another life. While Gary was cleaning his home that night, miles away, detectives were starting to piece together the nightmare that had been unfolding for years. Bodies were appearing near the Green River, in wooded areas, and along highways. The victims were almost all young women, many of them known to work in sex trade. The press began calling the unknown killer the Green River Killer. Detectives formed one of the largest task forces in Washington state history. They interviewed hundreds of men, cross-referenced vehicle sightings, and tested countless DNA samples. But the killer stayed one step ahead. Gary Ridgway even joined the search efforts at times. He would drive by areas being combed by police, pretending to be curious, secretly relishing that no one suspected the quiet, soft-spoken man who looked like a harmless neighbor. In 1983, Gary was questioned by police. He passed a polygraph test, smiled politely, and went home. But investigators kept his name on file. Years passed. Dozens more victims were discovered, strangled, dumped, and often found with their shoes missing. Even when the case went cold, detectives never stopped chasing leads. Then, in 2001, nearly 2 decades later, DNA technology finally caught up with Gary Ridgway. Samples collected from several victims were retested with new methods, and the results were undeniable. The DNA matched one man, Gary Leon Ridgway. In 2003, Gary Ridgway was finally arrested. Facing the death penalty, he struck a plea deal, admitting to 49 murders to avoid execution. But investigators believe the true number may be much higher, possibly 70 or more. During his confession, Ridgway spoke with chilling calm. He said he killed so many women he lost count. And when asked about the night he almost got caught, the woman who nearly escaped, He admitted it had shaken him deeply. After that, he stopped bringing victims home. He returned to killing only in the woods, where no one could see, no one could hear. Today, Gary Ridgway remains in prison, serving life without parole. His story stands as a reminder that evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes, it looks like the quiet man next door. And if that one brave woman had managed to open the door that night, the Green River Killer's reign of terror might have ended years earlier. If you're drawn to stories where justice takes decades to catch up, tap that like button and subscribe for more. Now I want to know what you think. Did Gary Ridgway deserve life in prison? Or should he have faced the death penalty for what he did?